I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Nashville Town Council to order. Would you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let us pray. Father, we invite you into our town council meeting tonight to lead us and guide us and give us your wisdom to make the right decisions for all the citizens of Nashville. Amen.
Amen.
The first item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes for the September 17th meeting. Did you find any corrections to those minutes? If not, do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The minutes are approved for our September meeting. And we did not have anyone to sign up for our public comments tonight, so I'm going to change the order on the agenda just a little bit so we can get some people that have to travel out earlier. The first item we're going to discuss will be under new business, and it's going to be the Glover Park improvements.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Thank you all for having us today. My name is Thomas Gillespie. I'm the Parks and Recreation Director for Nash County. Along with me is Josh Daniels. He's our Recreation Program Supervisor for the county. Nash County and the town of Nashville entered into an interlocal agreement for athletic sport programs, park maintenance management, and the supervision of Glover Park until June 30th, 2025. As part of the agreement, the town has allocated $20,000 annually for park improvements at Glover Park during fiscal year 23, 24, and 25. To accommodate larger projects, the agreement allows for expenditures to exceed the allotted budget with subsequent fiscal year allocations adjusted accordingly. Over the past 2 years, 2 fiscal years, 3 significant improvement projects have been completed at Glover Park, totaling $43,467 in expenditures. These projects include $26,450 improvement on the baseball dugouts, a $7,795 concession stand upgrade, and a $9,222 fence repair at the football field. In August, the town paid Nash County $3,467 to reimburse the county for costs incurred during previous fiscal years. As a result, the remaining balance for fiscal year 25 improvement project stands at $16,533. To maximize the available funds, staff has identified 2 priority projects for fiscal year 25. A facility audio system improvement and a scoreboard system upgrade. These enhancements will further elevate Glover Park's amenities and contribute to a more enjoyable experience for visitors and park users. At this time, Josh is going to provide an overview of the recommended projects on a PowerPoint slide that should be included in your packet.
Thank you, Thomas. Good evening, everyone. Like I said, my name is Josh Daniels. I am the program supervisor for baseball, softball, and volleyball with Nash County Parks and Recreation. I've been with the department for a little over a year now. I am born and raised from Red Oak, so I am a local. I grew up, played at Glover Park actually for my T-ball age group. So working on this project and these improvements has been really cool for me, and being able to do something that I care about and that I'm so passionate about because I'm from here has been awesome. So I'm very thankful for this opportunity. So we'll jump right into things. Our first improvement that I've been working on, and Thomas and everybody, has been the facility audio system improvement project. As you can see here, this is an improvement project that will give us a fully functional audio and announcement system for all 4 baseball and softball fields at Glover Park. This would provide us, this audio system could be operated on all 4 fields at once, and it would be a great improvement for the facility. For the justification, you can see that Glover Park Tower provides a premier enclosed facility that would be necessary to house all the necessary audio equipment to provide this music and announcements for all 4 baseball and softball fields. It is our only facility that has an operational tower, so it is a great spot for this. We have been using the tower in our previous recreational seasons to host tournaments and also for our sports leagues. It's a great place for this improvement. And this capability is also required for us to host any Nash County All-Star Baseball Tournament. So we play in the DYB. It's called Diamond Youth Baseball. It's very similar to Little League Baseball. I know a lot of people are familiar with that. So our agency, the DYB, requires for us to ever host an all-star tournament for our kids. We would have to be able to make PA announcements as like announce the kids' names as they walk up to the plate, play the national anthem, and then also be able to play music. So right now, with our current state, we would not be able to host any all-star tournaments. This past season, our kids traveled to Hope County for the district tournament, which was about 2 hours. So they traveled to and from for the tournament. So being able to have this system and this improvement would allow for us to meet that requirement and hopefully bring a tournament closer to home for our kids that participate in the All-Star season. Also, it's just a great opportunity to increase the enjoyment level for the participants in our recreational baseball and softball leagues. I have been playing music seldomly with a DJ kind of setup that we use for our special events, so I don't have access to it at all times, but for some of our softball games, I've been playing some music and baseball as well, and it just creates a completely different atmosphere for the environment that we are creating. It's exciting for everyone. Some people get really into the games, and so playing something to kind of calm everybody down is very useful. The softball girls love Party in the USA. They dancing in the dugout, and everybody sings along to Sweet Caroline. So it's something awesome to be able to see. So right now we can only do it on one field at a time. So being able to do it for all 4 fields would be a great opportunity for our recreational participants. So for a timeline, we have received confirmation from a local audio professional that he could get it installed by the spring season. We got a few quotes from local audio professionals. This project that we are looking at, that I'm going to touch on, is $10,660.90. So a little bit of information on this audio system. It would put 4 12-inch JBL all-weather speakers. For those of you that are not familiar with speaker systems, JBL is a very high-quality speaker. It's kind of similar to Bose. It's one of the nicer speakers that we could get. As you can see there, that is not Glover Park. That is Hope County's tower. So they had a very similar setup. That's where our kids went and played in their all-star tournament. It's very similar to ours. So I just put it there for reference. You can see that speaker that they have on the side of the building. That is pretty much the exact speaker that we would be getting if we were to get approved for this project, and it would be put in the middle of each tower, of each field. So where that window is in the middle of that tower, it would be mounted right there in the middle so that each field would have a dedicated speaker facing it for all of their announcements and music. So a couple more of the things that we've got coming with this audio system is that we've got amplifiers, which is the necessary power equipment for that. And then we've also got 4 audio consoles that just lets you adjust the sound and make sure that you can do all 4 fields at once. And then also we've had a wireless mic quoted for us included in this headset so that we would be able to have a championship ceremony on the field for the kids. We'd be able to have special events at the parks as well and at the fields to be able to announce on the go while we're having ceremonies or any kind of special event. Also, we'd be receiving headsets for our PA announcers, and then all of the necessary cable and install included with this as well. Does anybody have any questions before we move on about this audio system that I can answer?
What was that cost again? 10,000?
Yes, $10,660.
Okay, thank you.
Is one mic enough?
So the headsets is what you would use at all 4 stations. So that if you were to PA announce in the tower for like the game, you would use the headset. So if I am on the field, then I would be using the microphone, and that's that Audio Technica wireless mic.
I understood that. I mean, so
Having
one's
more
enough
than one?
on the field?
We could always look at getting more. I personally would be the one probably speaking, so I try to stagger our recreational tournaments to where I don't have a multitude of championships going on at once. That way I can be there, be able to present the awards for them. So really, previously I've never had a championship go on simultaneously, the ceremony part. So I try to make our schedule to where I can have a ceremony, and then the next age group will come out and they'll play their game and finish up to where I can just be able to do the ceremony myself.
Okay.
And now I could look into getting more of the
And one
wireless
speaker
microphones.
per side is adequate for everybody that's around the field to hear that?
You talking about
The speakers.
The speakers, yes. So we looked at quoting a two speakers. It took the price to about $14,000 to $15,000. We went to that Hope County facility. They had one speaker, this 12-inch JBL actually, and it was suffice. I've been to the All-Star tournament that did have 2 speakers for each field, and it's great. But I think with what we're looking for, I think this would be definitely sufficient. It plays good music. The JBL all-weather speaker, I actually did a lot of research on it. It's good for both PA announcement and also for music as well. So it's a good middle ground. And it's loud enough to where everybody be able to hear our music, everybody be able to hear our announcements. Obviously, one speaker is probably not going to blow anybody out of the water. We won't be hearing bass, any kind of like subwoofer type, but it will be good quality music, and you'll be able to hear everything as needed. Does anybody else have any other questions as far as the audio system? All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and move on to the scoreboard system upgrade project. Just a little bit about this project. This is to install an upgraded scoreboard system for our Field 1 at Glover Park. Currently, we do have a scoreboard on that field. We would be replacing the scoreboard on Field 4, which is malfunctioning, as well as we do not have a operating panel for that scoreboard. So currently, we can only operate 3 scoreboards at a time. We did not receive or did not have access to a panel for that 4th field whenever we took over Glover Park. So I've been looking at trying to find that. Electromech is the brand, that scoreboard panel. I've been unsuccessful as the scoreboards are a little bit dated, so I've not been able to find a solution as far as finding a panel that would be compatible for that scoreboard. So us upgrading the Field 1 scoreboard and then moving that scoreboard that exists already and is functional to Field 4 would give us 4 functioning scoreboards on all the fields. So one of the other justifications for this project, other than having 4 functioning scoreboards, is to have a scoreboard that includes the time or the pitch count. So we will be placing a bid to host our district or state all-star tournaments for baseball, and being able to have scoreboard on Field 1 that gives us a championship capable field would really increase the competitiveness of our bid, and I think would be a great increase for the enjoyment for the participants, baseball and softball participants in our recreational leagues. As one of the things that I notice myself whenever I'm at a baseball or softball sporting event, I spend a lot of time looking at the scoreboard. If you're really paying attention to the game, you're paying attention to balls and strikes and how much time is left in the game if the scoreboard has that. So it is a very big reflection on the facility, and I believe that upgrading Field 1 and giving us that championship level playing field would be a great upgrade for our park. This timeline is various depending on the quote. We have received multiple quotes from multiple different scoreboard manufacturers, and most can get one to us within 30 to 60 days, and the cost is variable by scoreboard. So now we're going to a little comparison between our local scoreboards. As you can see here, that is the scoreboard on Field 1 in that top left corner, and then beneath that is the Rocky Mount Sports Complex scoreboard, and then to the right side we have the Gillette Park scoreboard, and then most recently where we went to play in that All-Star tournament, we have the Hope County Sports Complex scoreboard. So one thing I want to point out, like I touched on in this previous slide, is that currently our scoreboard, it does work on Field 1, so there's nothing really inherently wrong with this scoreboard. We would be moving this one to Field 4. The scoreboard that the ones we are using now, they do not have time or pitch count. So as you can see here, the City of Rocky Mount, their sports complex has pitch count on their scoreboard, and as well as Gillette Park has a pitch count there on that scoreboard. That is just something to help the coaches out. We have a pitch smart guideline. Essentially, we limit the amount of pitches the kids can throw to protect their arms. So that's something that's useful for the coaches and for the staff. A lot of tournaments, a lot of places that host tournaments will have that on the scoreboard for the coaches and for the staff. As you can see down there in the bottom right, that is Hope County. They have that time on the scoreboard. That allows the parents and the spectators and all of the players to know how much time is left in the game, as we do have time limits on our games. So that increases the amount of communication we are having with our parents and allowing them to see how much time is left in their game. Right now, our staff keeps time on their phone, so there's a lack of communication there. Some parents and spectators don't know how much time is left in the game, so being able to have that on the scoreboard is very beneficial for everyone. So that's the local scoreboards, and in the middle, I have quoted 2 scoreboards for reference. One, proposed scoreboard number 1 is $4,585. That is a scoreboard that displays just time. It is very good scoreboards, 10 foot by 5 foot. And then below that, I've got the proposed scoreboard number 2 that has just pitch count, and then our basic baseball and softball scoring instruments. And on our next page, I am showing our scoreboard that we would like to pursue with the help of a renewed contract if possible, as well as we have a sponsor that is willing to assist us in meeting the needs to provide both the time and the pitch count on the scoreboard. So that increases the cost of the scoreboard, as you can see there, to $7,518. We have received confirmation that Edwards would be willing to assist us in covering the cost of the scoreboard as well as installation. So we would love to be able to have that scoreboard. Maybe not this specific scoreboard, but this is just for reference as far as the cost of something with time and pitch count on there on that scoreboard. And that would provide us a very nice scoreboard for a championship field that we would like to have Glover Park Field 1 be. At this time, does anybody have any questions about the scoreboard improvement project?
I have an
Sorry, go
I just have an observation.
Yes.
I've got to agree. I appreciate you bringing and showing us the different models. And in doing so, I appreciate you alluding to the fact that when you play the game, most of us that know a little bit about the game certainly going to be looking at the scoreboard. So I appreciate you including that factor, because when we work with children, we want to make sure that they're being trained on what to look for and how the game is to be played and things of that nature. So I appreciate the proposal, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So you said that the sponsor is going to cover the full cost of this third one that you presented plus installation?
So not the full cost. I know that $7,518 would take us over the amount that I believe we have allotted for this fiscal year. They would be willing to cover that difference that is left over, as well as installation. And then we would have them move that scoreboard and install it on field 4.
So I guess my 2 questions here. Number 1, instead of donated by, maybe sponsored by?
Yes, I should have made a note of that. I'm sorry. So at the top of that scoreboard, it says Nash County.
Right.
I meant to say we also could have the town of Nashville on there as well. This
Right,
was a
either
mock-up
the 2
that I
or just
made
do
by
Glover
him.
Park to keep it simple.
Yeah, we could change it to whatever y'all would like.
Or do, you know, Town of Nashville, you know, with Nash County or something, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind just having Glover Park there
Right.
because it's Glover Park.
Of course.
And then, yeah, I would just do sponsored by. instead of
Sponsored by?
Donated by.
What's the amount we got carryover, or are we in the hole already from this year?
16 is what we have left.
Yeah,
16 is what we got left?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we would,
$16,533.
No, because that would put us to 18,178, and then not including installation.
But he's gonna take care of that,
but
Edwards.
it was gonna
Yes,
do
the
the rest of it.
sponsor did say
But the
they'd be
difference as well,
willing to
because
cover
the
that.
10,660 and 90 cents plus the
Plus-
7,518 puts us at 18,178,
Right.
and we have 16,533.
And Edwards
Will
would,
make
they
the
confirmed
difference.
they would
Would
cover that
Make the
difference.
difference to get us down to that 16.
Right.
So my question is, do we have the sending unit, for a better word for it, that's all covered, that's going to be, this is compatible with? So we,
So yes,
the person that sends information
this
to-
scoreboard panel comes with a wireless or wired, whichever one we choose, scoreboard operating panel. So right now we have 3. With us purchasing this scoreboard, it comes with a panel. So we would now have enough panels to where we could access and operate that scoreboard on field 4. So we would then have all the necessary scoreboard panels to operate all
so
4
that price
fields.
includes everything
It
that sends
includes,
it?
it includes the shipping and handling as well as that scoreboard operating
And the
panel.
price includes moving the one from one to the other?
So that's where Edwards would say they would
They're
be
going
willing
to
do
cover the
that.
moving and the installation of the new one?
Mhm.
I have a question about how this whole thing works, because I didn't vote how this works. So we have to pay for all those upgrades and,
We,
but we don't get
every
the.
year, we
Agreed.
put $20,000 aside for improvements on Glover Park. We could say no to all of this right now if we thought the soccer fields needed more attention or some other project. But we did agree to do $20,000 set aside for any capital improvements. They have to do like general maintenance and things like that of the
I
facilities.
got you. I got
And
you.
they
Okay,
just come
that's
to
good to
us-
know.
They come to us and get our blessings.
I got you.
And
I
we
figured
do-
that part out,
and
but I
we
just.
do have a lot of our children participating in all these sports, don't we?
Yes, yes. We actually had a team based out of Nashville in Glover Park tonight with a little bit of rain. But we do have quite a few kids that participate out of Nashville, as well as on these all-star teams when they do become a thing in the spring. There are children and participants out of
Great.
Nashville.
Too, I think it needs to be noted, Bill, we do have the economic impact of them being in our
No, I
field.
get it. I just
So
want to make sure I understood.
all
'cause
of those tournaments that come do
Yeah.
help our businesses.
I knew that they were in charge of it, and then, but this is not in charge of it. So what would be your third option?
Our third option, well, we did get a few other quotes on different items. Some of them were more expensive. We quoted a batting cage through one of the local fencing companies that came in at $9,000. So we did not include that on this fiscal year's improvement project. So that's why we just came in with these two.
Well, and
As
you
far
don't
as
have
for
room,
this
you
fiscal
don't have
year.
room included this year. But, based on the information
Maybe
you've given
next
us, yeah, maybe next
Maybe.
year. Based on the information I think you presented to us, I would say that, we go ahead and approve it.
Make it
Let's
into a
go,
motion.
yeah, I put that in form of a motion. Let's go forward.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye. And
With
please
the
thank
un-
the sponsor.
With
Yeah.
with the understanding that we've got Glover Park on it, and Edwards is gonna
Be
Be
sponsored by
sponsored.
it.
be
Yeah.
sponsored.
Yep.
A big thank you to them.
Thank you so much for your presentation. We appreciate it.
Yes, thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is service line warranty and leak projection project. And Emily, well, Randy, you gonna introduce Emily?
Yes, this evening we have Emily Zinfandel?
Zelfini.
Zelfini.
Well, that
It
was
was
close.
made up, it's okay. It's not real.
Philadelphia name.
Zalfini?
And,
Feeney.
she has an interesting program. Our town here in Nash County, Sharpsburg, is enrolled in this program, and it offers some benefits to our water and sewer customers, and I think you might be interested in hearing.
Yes.
So,
Well, thank you all. Again, my name is Emily Zelfini. I represent actually two programs I'm going to talk about tonight. We have the Serve Line Leak Protection Program and also the National League of Cities Service Line Warranty Program, both by HomeServe. I always like to just start with a little background on the company I actually work for. So HomeServe administers both programs. We've been in this business for over 20 years now. We've been working with the NLC since 2010. We have partnerships with over 1,200, municipalities and utilities across the country and serve around 4 million of their customers so far. We have strategic partnerships with the National Rural Water Association, as well as the only service line program that is endorsed by the National League of Cities. So like I said, I do want to talk about two separate programs. They both kind of address some common problems that face both the utility and the homeowner alike. So we have the Serve Line Leak Protection Program. That'll be the top page that you were handed. That program comes in to help cover the cost of a high water bill if somebody has a leak. We also have the NLC Service Line Warranty Program, which is the second page. That one is there to cover what can be a costly repair for a residential water line, sewer line, or in-home plumbing when they have any issue. It doesn't necessarily have to be a leak. Like I said, I want to be very clear, they are technically two separate programs. They stand on their own. So if you wanted to offer one and not the other, that is an option. But they do work pretty nicely hand in hand to kind of cover all your bases. So just sort of a background on why these programs exist at all. Over a span of years, we've been speaking with municipalities and utilities all across the country, and we still keep hearing the same thing over and over. And that's if a resident has an issue with their water or sewer line, usually they're calling into the utility or to the town. They're, concerned, thinking that the city might be able to help them in some sort of way. And oftentimes the city asks a few questions or sends someone out and you find the issues on the resident side. And then in that case, not only can you not help, But you also kind of end up being the bearer of bad news and having to let them know that it's their responsibility. Usually homeowners insurance policies don't cover things like this. And obviously that can be really upsetting to find out if you have a major issue and then you have to do some research, find a contractor, pay for everything out of pocket. So for both of these programs, the first and kind of most basic step is just simple customer education. The information that we either provide or send out is designed to make sure that residents understand their responsibilities. So that way, even if they don't actually enroll into any of the coverage, you can say that you've taken a proactive approach to make sure that they know what they're responsible for and then have some options available to them. So again, I'm going to keep the two programs separate, start with one. I'll pause in between if you have any questions. But I like to kind of look at it from the customer's perspective, and a lot of times the person might not even know they have a leak till they get a high bill. That's going to trigger a phone call. You know, why is my bill so high? I didn't use the water. I can't pay for this, things like that. And then whoever answers that call is spending who knows how much time and kind of taking on stress from that customer who just wants help with that bill. That, of course, is where the leak protection comes in. So the Servline Leak Protection Program is something that costs nothing for the town to participate in. It is completely customizable based on your needs, and it's really just designed to enhance or replace any leak adjustment policy you might have in place now. In order to kind of simplify things, we have come up with some standard options that usually cost residents right around $1 or $2 a month. So our standard policies include one claim every 12 months, and we would cover up to $2,500 over 2 billing cycles. We cover 2 billing cycles because, like I said, someone might not realize they have that leak. We want to give them time to get a repair made to whatever's causing the leak. And then we do actually cover leaks that might not be buried or outside or anything like that. We cover simple things like leaking faucets, running toilets, hot water tanks. When it comes to the proof of repair, we are very, very flexible. They can provide a bill from a contractor, they can provide a receipt from a local hardware store, some pictures if they can just fix it themselves. And then once they show us that they've made that repair, we turn around and pay the utility directly for anything above the customer's average monthly bill. So that way we're ensuring that money is actually going towards that excess water bill, and the town isn't financially responsible for that. You are then able to go ahead and lower the bill back down to the customer's monthly average. So if you were to decide to put this into place, you'd pick any specific guidelines, let us know exactly what you're looking for. If you want anything unique, we can work with you on it. It just kind of changes some pricing here and there. We would then put together an educational brochure that would go out with the utility bill at least 30 days prior to the program going into effect. The town would also have the option to decide whether or not this is something that's mandatory across the board, meaning everyone's enrolled, there's no option to cancel, or you can give people the option to cancel. Most of our partners do. With that, they can cancel prior to anything being added in once that notice goes out. They can also, because we know a lot of people are like me, I'll be honest, I open my water bill, I look at the price, I throw everything else away, and I pay it as long as it's normal. So I'd probably miss the notice. For that reason, we give people the first full 12 months once the program actually starts that they can call us to cancel and request a full refund as long as they haven't filed any claims with us. Even beyond that first 12 months, people are always considered month to month, so they can cancel at any time or re-enroll at any time if maybe they canceled early in and then a neighbor has a leak and they want to get back in the program. But to give you sort of an idea, usually around 97% or so of people do end up remaining covered under the program. And it's really a win-win for the utility and the customer. On the customer's side, it offers a little peace of mind. You know, most people can afford $1 or $2, but maybe not an unexpected $500 or more. And I know if I have a spare $500, I don't want to spend it on my water bill. So with this in place, the cost of their excess water would be covered. There's no deductible, no surprise charges. The calls are processed seamlessly on one of our recorded lines, so it does ensure a good customer experience. And then, of course, on the utility side of things, it's recapturing any bad debt, lost revenue from unpaid bills or payment plans. You're also not having to deal with any sort of internal adjustment process. We handle all those claims calls and things like that on our end. And then it can also help with auditing and budgeting because, you know, with something like this in place already, you kind of have a better idea of what to expect year over year. But really, the bottom line is, you know, the customer's not paying for the leak and the utility is not writing anything off or losing any revenue on that. So that's the leak side of things. I'll pause there before I go to the repair side. Did anyone have any questions, thoughts?
Yeah, several. So I read it differently. So you're actually recommending we add it to the bill automatically, but it can come off if the person asks.
Correct.
Okay, I didn't read it that way. So we have a big number, I don't know what the number is, maybe even half of people are automatically paying their bills because if you do that, we don't charge a deposit. So they're not getting a notice. They're not getting in the letter. They're getting just a bill,
Okay.
and it comes out of their checking. I don't know what the number is. It's just pretty high, I
Well,
think.
mine's auto deduct, but I still get a
Right.
bill.
I still get a bill.
I don't get it. Well,
Yeah, you do.
yeah, I do.
You just don't look at it.
I don't look at it. I don't look at it because automatically, yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. And so that's the concern. And then again, I didn't know we were going to add it. If we did, I thought it was going to be if they wanted to. Okay. And then, did I hear you correctly that you're actually going to do a marketing to the the users, in that process?
So with this program, the leak side of things, it's really just the notice that goes out in the bill. We can provide, web banners, flyers that you can keep in the utility office or to hand out. But for the leak policy itself, it's mainly just what would go out with the bill. We do cover any extra costs associated with that if you need any extra postage. But for this on its own, generally that's the only advertisement. It is something that we can mention in the other letters at some point when we
So
start
the other
advertising
one,
the
you
other
actually,
option. Yeah.
it's not included. You actually try to sell
Correct.
that.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is why I like to keep them separate because they work a bit
What
differently.
is the percentage of people in the towns that you offer that opt out?
So usually somewhere around 97 or 98% stay in the program. So 2 to 3% opt out. And whether it's, if someone misses the notice completely, they have no idea they have it. But then a lot of the time, if you call in and you have a high bill, you're happy to find out you do. So,
I'm sure most
One of
people
those
don't even
situations.
realize it's there because it's so small.
yeah.
You said 97% stay in the
Correct.
program.
Yep.
Well, let me rephrase that question. What percentage of the people in a town sign up for it?
It's automatic.
So
It's-
yes,
yeah.
with this program, people would automatically be
It would be
enrolled
on
into
their
it
water bill.
unless they cancel. Yes.
Okay, everybody will automatically be enrolled unless you choose to back out of it.
Correct.
And they have 12 months to back out of it.
Right.
I got
Yep,
you.
and actually, they can back out even after that, but we don't offer a refund for the premiums after that.
Now, what would the cost be on the water bill?
So it varies based on what you would choose. But on the first page that was handed out, there's a little chart there. So for the $2,500 per claim limit, that would be $1.80 for a resident. There is commercial pricing and other things as well.
So it doesn't matter how much water you use, it's just a flat rate?
It's just a flat rate, right?
Okay.
Yep, and they would get up to one claim each year, up to that $2,500. You could pick the $500 or $1,000 limit as well.
It's such a small
could, or
money
it
amount to
was-
pay out
Sorry.
for a very similar rate.
But the picking is us, not the individuals.
Correct.
Let me ask you this. It sounds like it's kind of like a form of a gap insurance. Is that kind of how you perceive it?
In a
It's
way.
there if you need it so that it minimizes the cost in
Right.
the event that you have a claim.
Right, it's technically an insurance policy for the town, so it's technically your insurance policy, and then the resident would be an additional claimant on the policy. But it would be there to safeguard essentially the water loss on the town side. So you're not paying for any of that or losing the revenue.
So, and so the claim includes the overage.
Right,
The
the claim
repair
would be
and the
for the
overage.
overage, yep. So anything over the customer's average bill, let's say the bill's $50, if it's $100, then we'll send $50 over to the town to cover that overage.
So the town would reduce the bill,
Yep,
and then you would take care of the issue.
Up to
Correct.
2,500.
Any other questions? Okay, Emery, let's move on to number 2.
all right. So I'll jump over to the repair side of things. We have the National League of Cities Service Line Warranty Program. Like I said, complements the leak policy just by giving people the option for coverage for a costly repair for an external water line, sewer line, or in-home plumbing. Like the leak protection, this program comes at no cost to the municipality. However, it works pretty differently, so it is very turnkey. We handle everything from the marketing, billing, claims, customer service, all of it. Again, with this program, the first step is simple customer education. This one, we take it a little further, though. So for this program, we would actually mail letters to each resident. That letter starts off as sort of informational, letting them know which portion of their line is their responsibility. Usually there's a picture or a diagram to go with it. We also let them know that the town's working with us, that you're aware that we're sending these letters out, but this is not coming from the town. And then we do offer the option of protection on those lines if people want it. So we make it clear it's optional. With that, if people do actually decide to enroll, they would contact us directly and we bill them directly. So this is something people choose, and the town doesn't really have to get involved with the billing or anything like that. But where the town's involvement does come into play is with that marketing. So to really kind of help us introduce the program to get people to open our letters and read them more often, we ask for the use of the logo on some of our marketing material, particularly the outer envelope. Like I said, gets people to open those letters and read them more. The more people who read them, of course, the more who enroll, the better we're able to maintain our pricing, our coverage, and then we also build up a local area contractor network as well. Because we ask for the use of the logo, we would also ask for the review and approval of any marketing material before it goes out. So we generally have around 3 campaigns each year. So 3 times a year, we would send over all of our marketing material via email, give you a chance to look it over. The messaging is always flexible. We'll work with you on that. Once we get an approval, we let you know exactly when we're going to mail, so you know right around the time the homeowners are going to get the information in the mail. And then really the key here is if for any reason you do not want us to mail, even if it's, just want us to take a break, that's fine. We don't mail anything without your approval for each campaign. The last thing we really ask of from you all would of course be to approve the overall concept of the program and enter into our marketing agreement, which allows us to use the logo in writing, and also ensures that you have the final right to review and approve everything. Like I said, with this program, if someone does choose to enroll, they can do it either by filling out the enrollment form on our letter, calling into our call center, or going onto our website where there's always more information available. So again, they're contacting us directly. We're billing them directly. That's not involved with you all there. But this program also just offers a little peace of mind. So basically for a few dollars a month, they're transferring the risk of their lines to us. Then if they have any issue, whether it's a broken, cracked, leaky pipe, a tree root penetration, clog, frozen lines, whatever it might be, they give us a call. We have US-based call centers. They're available 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year, and we work with local area contractors for all of our repairs, which we think is very important. We want to try and keep that money within your community as best we can, but also we expect that local contractors should be well aware of codes or requirements or anything unique in the area. So we expect them to get the job done not just to our standards, but to yours as well. When it comes to those contractors, they are not asked to pay us anything to join the network. We do not take a portion of the job or tell them what they can charge. They can charge us their standard rates. On the resident side, they would have 3 completely separate, completely voluntary options for protection. So there's one for their external water line, one for their external sewer line, and then a third for the in-home plumbing and drainage. The 2 external lines, they're set up pretty much identically as far as how the coverage itself works. So what somebody would receive would be up to $8,500 of protection per incident. No service fees, no deductibles, no annual or lifetime limits. We do not limit the number of claims they can file in a year. Third option is that in-home plumbing. For that one, it just basically picks up where the 2 leave off, and we offer up to $3,000. So that's any water, sewer, or drain line in the home. It does also include simple things like a clogged toilet. Again, always a per incident basis, no service fees, no deductibles, no annual or lifetime limits. When this was put together, they basically decided they didn't want a $100 service fee or something like that to stop somebody from giving us a call to get the issue taken care of as quickly as possible. And of course, people tend to be a lot more proactive when they don't have to search for a contractor if they don't know someone or worry about paying a ton out of pocket. I always like to point out that this one is generally not a reimbursement program. So the way it's designed to work is if somebody has an issue and they're enrolled, they give us a call. We set them up with the contractor, send the contractor out to them, and then once the job is complete, we're paying the contractor directly. So normally no money's exchanging hands there. They're not waiting around to be reimbursed, not like a normal insurance policy where you pay up front and then send over the bill. With this, I did also mention there's an incremental revenue that we offer to the municipality for your participation. Essentially, the way that works is we offer 10% of the revenue that we generate from the people who enroll with our program back to the town. We pay that out in the form of a royalty once a year, right around January or February is usually when it comes here. We, of course, don't tell you what to do with it, but it is something that's optional. You can turn it down, and if you do, we lower the pricing for the homeowners who actually enroll. So I know that was quite a bit about that program. This program has actually been around quite a bit longer than the LEAP policy has, especially in North Carolina. So we have, I believe it's 19 partners in that program in the state now, and we've saved residents so far around $4.5 million in repair costs. So again, I know that was a lot. Any questions on that program or either of them at this point?
So you talk quick, so I was trying to listen quick.
Sorry.
It's fine, it's fine. So is the in-home plumbing the only option that you mentioned, or is all three of them the only the option where you have to call to get something done? Is it all three of these, or is it, because you mentioned it before you mentioned the in-house, but I wasn't sure if you're comparing the other program, so I got a little confused.
Right, so the other program, the LEAP policy is the one you're automatically enrolled unless you cancel, it's on the bill. This one's basically the opposite, so no one's automatically
No,
enrolled.
I'm talking about when you call to get it fixed.
Oh, you have to call to get anything fixed.
No,
But
no, you
I'm
mentioned.
Sorry, I'm confused.
Yeah, I know.
I apologize.
So you mentioned that this, and I don't know where you said this, that's what I'm confused about, is not a reimbursement.
Oh,
You have to get it fixed through one of your people. Is it all three of these?
so all three of these,
Okay,
right? They
that was my
are
question.
all, you call into the call center, we set up the contractor, and then we pay the contractor. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. You said it in front of the in-home, and I didn't know if you were calling all three of them or not, so that clarifies it. Is there exceptions?
So there are, we wouldn't cover things like third-party negligence, or, if you're digging and you hit the line, and you've obviously done that, that normally wouldn't be covered, but most wear and tear is. We also, I'm not sure if lead lines are an issue here like they are in a lot of the country. We can't proactively cover a lead line, but if we come out and we find a lead line or galvanized lines or anything like that, we'll replace everything up to code.
And is there, it doesn't cover a hot water heater?
So this would not cover the hot water heater. The leak policy, if that broke, then we would cover the leak side, but this would not cover the repair of hot water heater. It's just the lines. I can see, though, I know in some areas we have hot water heater coverage separate available as well. I can see if we can make that available here, too, if you do end up.
And I have a question about the other program, if you don't mind switching heads here.
Absolutely.
There was a 10% coverage, so that only covers if we make everybody have that other policy.
So yes, on the leak protection that you're automatically enrolled into, if you do not give people the option to cancel, there's a 10% drop in the pricing.
Any other questions, concerns? Okay, Randy?
One question, some insurance companies that cover internal plumbing, if you have polybutyl pipes, they won't cover that. Will your program for internal plumbing cover those?
Yep, we have no issue with that. We basically just ask whenever someone enrolls, is your line in good working order, or are your lines in good working order as far as you're aware? As long as you can say, yes, you're enrolled, there's a 30-day wait is the big caveat, I guess you could say, just to make sure
From
people-
enrollment till you
Yeah,
can make the
just to
claim.
make sure people aren't enrolling when they have a major issue.
So is there anything that's a no-no? You mentioned lead, galvanized, is copper?
Nope, all
Okay.
of that would be covered.
And the 30 days is only on the program where you sell. The other program is not 30 days.
Right.
So the first program would be added to the utility bill,
Right.
and the second one
Optional.
we pay directly to the company,
Correct.
which on the high side would be the $9.99.
Yep, and the customer would pay, so the municipality's not responsible for that.
Right.
No, it could be $35, right?
Right, because that pricing
could
is
be a total of
$6.99
it.
plus $7.99
Right.
plus
So total,
$9.99.
So
if
what
they
now?
wanted
It's
all
all
of it.
three options.
Each one of those is a separate option. So if you bundle the three together,
It
you have
is.
to add them.
Right.
Yes.
I'm glad you brought that to my
Just under
attention. I was thinking the
$30, right?
$9.99 covered it all, but
Mm.
That'd be really nice.
Yeah, that'd be great, yeah.
no, what's that total?
Right.
Kate, I know you got it.
Eight,
I didn't actually do
seven,
it.
it's $35, it's
Yeah.
34 some
18.
change,
Yeah.
34.90 something.
No, it would be
24?
25.
25?
or 26.
Sorry.
Sorry, I should have added it up.
You carried too many ones.
Yeah, I got too many ones. I got that problem a lot.
We just recently changed our pricing
Who knows
also, so I
math
used
real
to have
good?
the total and
Not
it's
me.
not the same anymore.
Even
Well, I mean, I rounded it up to
$23.
$7 even. and-
Okay,
$10 even.
Yeah,
all right, $23, okay.
I didn't do the math for the pennies.
It's good marketing.
Okay, 23 and the other one's 180.
I mean, I'm intrigued. I understood it differently when I read it, so I'm glad that you were here.
Yeah. Do you have any other
But
questions?
this is optional.
Well, the question before the council this evening, is this something you would like to proceed with? Again, not giving a firm decision here tonight, but, you know, if it's something you're interested in offering, we can proceed and have it on a subsequent meeting agenda where you can decide, you know, for the leak protection, what level, you know, would be 500 to 1,500 or 2,500. And the other program, you know, all we have to do is allow our logo to be used on their marketing material for people to sign up for the service line protection programs. Yeah, and to decide if you want to
One or-
receive 10% of that.
Right.
And that money would have to go back into the fund, right?
Doesn't have to, but that would be smart.
Wouldn't have to, yeah,
Would
it'd be
make
smart to
sense.
put it back in there.
Well,
Well,
I like it now.
I don't think it's something that we as a board should say yes or no. I think we should let our residents decide whether or not it's worthwhile for them. I mean,
I'd like to get a consensus, like I would like to move forward with it.
yeah,
But I would like to hear from citizens, because it looks like it would be $15 or $18 or $21 per year to get protection. That being the case, I would probably go for the higher amount, the 2,500. But I'd like to hear from citizens, because the last thing we need is to put it on the water bill and all of a sudden
oh, yeah. I wouldn't do that.
Then our
sorry.
water bill
Get
has
a
to go
lot
up.
of complaints.
I mean, it's a reasonable amount, but, you know, obviously our bills are higher than the average already, but it's, again, it's a reasonable amount and a whole lot cheaper than trying to pay for it when it breaks. And so, I mean, again, I'd like to hear from citizens too, but at the same time, I like the idea.
If I may, I should
We've
just
got-
mention too that the city, or the town rather, is also considered month to month on the leak side of things. So if you did get it started, roll it out, and you have a ton of backlash, you can cancel. And that's just kind of done with. It's not something you're stuck into for long term.
We've got 3 of our residents sitting in here tonight. How do y'all feel about it, just off the cuff, from what you hear?
We get mailing all the time, mailings for all kinds of insurances, you know, to add on extra protection for things. I mean,
But this is slightly different.
This is a little cheaper than what those are.
Does it pique your interest?
I mean, my question is, are those each treated separately, like completely, where it says one is 8,500, another one's 8,500, another one's 1,000, so, I
They-
mean,
Mm-hmm.
to me, it's not a huge amount, but to some people, it may make or break them.
But that's optional. Those are optional
Right,
amounts,
right.
yeah.
Right.
That one, no, the water one though, that we would be tacking onto the bill. So that one, we can get $500 worth of protection, $1,000 worth of protection, or $2,500 worth of protection for either $15, $18, or $21 per year. And it would be like $1.80 per bill for the $2,500
That's basically protecting your,
for leaks.
Leaks.
For leaks?
if
Right.
you have a leak or something's going on.
And your
with
bill
water
is
Right.
really high.
Right.
Right, so it goes from, you know, 250 to 600, you go, I have a leak, what happened? They would cover the repair for it, plus whatever the difference is between your average water bill and the leak water bill.
The leak, $1.80 does not cover the repair. That is just for the water
Oh,
bill.
so which
Yes.
one is, I'm looking at $5.
Oh, I'm confused now.
Yeah, the leak
Wait.
thing does not cover the repair. It is just for the high water bill.
just covers the bill.
Yes.
So what,
Oh,
That's why there's the separate program for the repairs.
I
So
got
which one's for the repairs?
The second,
The second
The
one.
second
the
one.
second one
The
she went
sheet.
through.
you. They have to get the second one to get the repair. The
To
first
get
one
the
covers the
repair,
first
covers
high
the difference in
bill.
the
high
water
bill.
bill,
Ah.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How is it determined if there's actually a leak? Like, I mean, besides,
A high water bill, right? Did someone water their lawn or?
Use a water faucet.
So they would have to show us proof of a repair of something in order
Okay.
for the water bill to be covered. So if they filled up their pool, there's not going to be a repair
Right.
necessarily.
Oh, that changes things, because when are you ever going to have a $2,500 water bill?
Yeah, most people do go with a lower.
I hope never.
Yeah, we've had a few of those. Somebody goes on vacation and the toilet runs, and they get, a $1,400 water bill, because the sewer charges are on there also. It's water and sewer.
Yeah, but I don't think it's
Sewer's
worth the
on
extra
trouble.
cost for that one that might happen where,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? I think the lower number makes more
Right.
sense.
does it cover both the water and the sewer part?
No.
So it covers each individually. Most of our partners who go into the leak policy will just take the water coverage. So let's say the $1.80 for $2,500, just for example. Because that water hasn't gone through your sewer system to be treated, a lot of our partners will just adjust the sewer off on their own.
Partner, you mean municipality?
Yes, utility municipality, yeah.
Well,
But
that,
most of our customers that we give leak adjustments to, it is for a running toilet. And that water does go down the sewer, so we can't waive that.
Right.
But what I like about the leak protection program is, right now, under our leak policy, we're writing off that high bill. You get one high bill per year if you have it, and we will adjust it down to your average, and then the utility or the town just eats what was billed above the average. Like I said, you only get one of those a year.
so we have that in policy now.
That's impossible
Right.
now.
What would you say we eat per year?
Oh, I don't have that off the top of my head. Yvette or Samantha could tell you, they deal with it every day.
I'd like to know that number before agreeing to this, because if it's something that isn't that high, this is passing off whatever that cost is to all of the customers, maybe at a greater rate than what we're actually having to spend on it.
Right. Well, for the next meeting, we can bring that back. And if you wanted to do a survey, we can, on the back of the water bill, do a summary with Emily's help and send that out to our customers and see what response and reaction you get back to that. We won't be able to do that until the November water bill, because our October water bill has already got on the back a disinfection violation notice that we have to notify our customers about. I think Tony's
Why,
got it.
why don't we just
Let's
say
do
we're
that.
interested and we'd like to look at it, and we'll get back next time?
Tony has a question.
Tony, would you mind stepping up to the microphone?
Tony Koenig, 708 Westview Court, Nashville. I'm just wondering, people may ask the question, why do I not have the option of opting in instead of having to opt out? And then people may also look at this as an insurance company on behalf of the town, not necessarily on them. You could look at it another way. Because am I insuring myself or am I insuring the town? Because who's going to be out more money, the town or me? Because the town's going to eat it, am I really paying for the insurance for the town?
Right, if that's our policy where we're taking care of it.
Right, and why am I being asked to opt out of it instead of
One,
opt
right.
into it? It's sort of like it's reverse. Because we're just basically forcing everybody to say, well, yeah, you're going to take it. And how many people are going to, people don't read out water bills anyway, right? So how many people realize they're going to be paying it and they're going to option out? They have to take it out. I'm just kind of curious how people would look at it,
Amy, do you have any towns that actually pay it themselves instead of putting the cost on?
Do, but it's just not common. If you decided to do it, and of course then it would be mandatory for everyone, you'd get that 10% discount, but unfortunately, we don't. I wish I could say we offer more for that, but we don't. I should mention too, if you did want to get leak adjustment policy data and things like that put together. This is our standard pricing that we're showing. If you're able to provide us enough data from, they want to see 3 years usually, we can take a look at it and see if we can offer any better pricing for the leak policy.
So if we can provide less leaks, then you get less, you're gonna have to charge less
Right.
money.
Right.
Okay?
Emily, thank you so much, and we will take
Very
this into
informative. Thank you.
consideration and get all our data and
Table
make a
it.
decision. They'll make a decision.
Let's
You're
table
very
this
welcome.
and
Thank
go
you all for
forward.
your time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
The next item on our agenda is, let's go back to the water sewer grant, Randy. This is where you need this.
What page is
So,
that? 22?
Page 22, yes. The potholes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So at the last meeting, the council approved an interlocal agreement with Nash County to receive 1.5 million of a state appropriation that Nash County received, which was larger. Our portion, or what they offered to us, was 1.5. We've accepted that, and we talked about what to spend it on, and there was consensus among the council that we should continue to seal up our leaking sanitary sewer manholes in the system. So there was a question asked, how many of them are there and what would it cost? So before the meeting, I passed out this little map with a bunch of dots on it. And what that map represents, every red dot on there is a manhole that's in very poor shape and leaking groundwater or surface water into it. Also in there are orange dots, which represent manholes that are in poor condition, likely have root intrusion, and if roots are growing into the manhole, water's getting into the manhole. And the yellow ones are fair. So the second sheet, or attached to that then, and this is from our asset inventory assessment that Matt Gay and Associates did for the town, and we got that $300,000 grant to do one for both the water and the sewer. There are 361 manholes in our system that are very poor, or fair. And it also lists the average depths of those. So what I did is I took the depths of 6 foot and those greater than 6 feet in depth, averaged those, put the contract price that we have with CRT Coatings Company under our current contract for sealing manholes, and multiplied it by the vertical feet. And we can get all 361 of these bad manholes sealed for $746,716. And I did confirm that with CTR Coatings. Neil with CTR Coatings has been in touch with Mike Tolson from Matt Gay and Associates, and they've been talking this last week. Mike Tolson gave Neil the same information he gave to us, and that's where that price of $746,000 comes from, is from CTR Coating. So the 1.5 million, you have to take 1% out for admin, so that leaves us with $1,485,000. And if we use $746,716 seal up manholes, that'll still leave us left with $738,000 to do something else, such as work on abandoning 2-inch galvanized water lines, or if you go back to the map, you see some green areas on the map. Those are sewer lines that are leaking. Either the pipe is cracked, groundwater is getting into, or a piece of pipe has collapsed and fallen in, and there's a gap where groundwater is getting in. We could look at slip lining, quantify how many of those there are and what the distance is, the size of the pipe. There are companies out there that do slip lining. Well, what they do is go between the two manholes where the pipe is bad, and they pull a plastic liner through. Once the liner's in place, then they pull a bullet which is heated through with a cable. And what that does is it expands that plastic envelope inside so that it forms to the size of the pipe that it's in, cures it in place. And then afterwards, all the service lines that are connected to that sewer main, they televise those first, so they got an exact location. They have a machine that goes through the pipe after the liner's put in, and they saw cut those out. It's pretty slick. It's a trenchless pipe repair. And we've used it before, not since I've been here, but there are several lines in the Regency Estate subdivision that have been slip lined a couple of years prior to my coming, and that's where I know we've done it at.
I think it's just wonderful we have this money, and I think it's great that we're eating the elephant a bite at a time and fixing these. And I think it's great that we're going to deal with the, first of all, those manholes and get those straightened out. And then whatever is the greatest need, I would say spend that money on it next. Do you agree, council?
I do agree. I'm thinking with the ones that are leaking, we're losing money, correct? Because we're having
We
to
are.
pay
Every
for,
Right, we're sending groundwater and surface water to Rocky Mount to be
Right.
treated that doesn't need to be treated.
so I would fix that one before the galvanized, right?
I would.
In order to save money that
What
we
will
can then
save us
spend on
the
the
most money?
galvanized.
Well, last meeting, you said that the greater need was the sewers, so I mean, I think we'd fix the green ones too.
Yeah.
Is my,
The nice thing about lining and sealing the manholes, we already have a contract in place. We don't have to hire an engineer to put together a project. We have it already defined here. The scope is defined. We know exactly what they're going to do. We know what the cost is because we've already went out for a price on sealing those manholes.
we can get a credit for our budget for that, right? Because we've already got that in our budget.
Well, we have $150,000 a year, this year, next year, and the following
Right.
year, a 3-year contract to seal manholes.
So we wouldn't need that. 'Cause we
So-
could use it
Now,
this.
do we have to go out and get a engineer for us to repair the green ones up here too?
We would have to do that because, CTR Coatings is a proprietary one-source contract for sealing manholes, and there's an exception in the statute that single-source vendors are exempt from competitive bidding because you can't get it anywhere else. And to my knowledge, there's not another company that's doing what CTR Coatings is doing with the products that they're using.
Is that the same thing for the green ones, or is that
No,
different?
there are multiple companies that do the slip lining.
But we've got to get an engineer for the slip line.
Yeah, I believe we do.
Why? It's the same thing. It's just a different pipe.
I hear what you're saying. I can check into that more, Larry, and bring a report back to the council on that.
But we can go ahead and approve the 7,
Yeah.
whatever, and
The
then
first
the
one,
rest of it, we kind of hold off on, right?
Right.
I'd say we go ahead with the 7.
I need that in a
You
form of
need a
motion.
motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 Motion carries.
And we'll wait on some
Wait to
numbers for the other one.
The next item on our agenda is public records request policy.
Engineers case.
Lou?
First
get it out.
46, thank you.
Lou worked diligently on this.
I did. If you've ever looked at our website, you'll see our public records request is just call me, call the town clerk, call the town, basically, and we'll, because we're open to be transparent, have no problem with that. We cover that, what's up there. But recently, we had a very large request, and it came to our attention, when I started looking at this, I realized that there wasn't even a form for anybody to fill out. So we have come up with the league's attorney and came up with an idea that we kind of got from some of the other towns. If you look on here, I think I actually left the town of Indian Trail. We're kind of copying them. That was very thorough. There's a form on the website. it asks them to be kind of specific about what they want. I mean, they can get whatever, I mean, if it's public, if it's required by policy, they can ask for it. But this gives it breaks it down a little bit easier, clearer it's also going to state that it's anything that takes us more than 4 hours, we can charge them for, because in the purge statute, we can, because I mean, what we were looking at was, how many hours?
917 hours.
917 hours worth of work, which we figured out, I forget what,
16.
$16,000 if we would be able to charge in. And we can, because it's still, but we want it clear. So if somebody asks, we're like, here's a form, you fill it out, it will be emailed automatically to me as the town web person. And it's pretty clear. It says we'll receive a response within 10 days. That's not, they're actually going to get it back within 10 days, but it gives us time to say if I need to have any clarification. It also, it spells out the pricing, and we list all the general statutes that it will cover.
Does the
So
statute
it's just
have?
clear, because honestly, if you look at the website, it's basically, we'll give it to you, call Lou. So, we're trying to be a little bit clearer on our policies altogether.
So is the statute say 4 hours, or can we make that less?
The statute doesn't say 4 hours, but after talking to the league's attorney, she feels like this is a very good policy, and that is what she suggested.
I don't know if 2 hours is better.
I don't think we want to deter requests.
I don't understand the term, but 2 hours is a long time.
But clearly, this policy has been abused, and we
Right.
need to stop any future abuse.
Right. It needs to be clear. Yeah, and the way the statute is written, we did respond back and say, this is what we can do per law. But it doesn't say it on our website. And that's not prohibiting us for saying, this is how we do it. But I feel, as the clerk, that everything needs to be, we're transparent. I'm going to tell you up front that if it takes over 4 hours, when you can read it in our policy, not wait that you've requested one for me to come back to say to you, when, it's going to be more than 4 hours. So, and most people, a lot of them would be, are not. I've done several. It's very simple, a lot of them, but some of them have this, yeah.
Well, I think it's a much-needed policy,
Oh,
and I'm
sure.
glad to see that. Do
And I just think it needs to be clear on our website.
Right, it does,
It really
it does.
It really does.
So do I hear a motion to approve and adopt the recommended public records request policy?
So move.
Second. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
The next item, Trey Sanderson, our Human Resource Director, changes to the electronic devices and resources acceptable use policy.
Hey, Mayor, Council. So today, State Law 2024-26 went into effect, and in a nutshell, they are putting a lot more stringent requirements on pornography on government-issued devices or services. And one policy I never thought I'd have to write in my life. But
Crazy.
because there's now going to be reporting requirements, we can't have a policy that's not very detailed in what you can and can't do. We have to outline what jobs can do it. Like if you're a detective and you have to view it part of your job, it can be allowed, so on and so forth. So we, instead of writing a completely separate policy, I just added in the needed details into our current electronic devices and resources policy, just renamed it and fleshed it out. I'll be happy to answer any questions about the law, but the law goes into effect today. We have until December to get into compliance.
Do we have a policy now that whomever, whether it be Randy, you, or the chief, or whatever, goes in and check our employees' laptops, computers, desks, and see what websites they've been logging in on
So currently,
periodically?
yeah, currently we do not, and I'm unsure. They have not released the guidance on what the reporting is going to look like. So all it says is, as of right now, is any incidents that I'm aware of or we are aware of, we have to report. Now, my assumption is they're going to ask for some sort of audit. What that looks like, I don't know. And I've talked to Coy, and we don't necessarily know how we're going to be able to do that because, Coy helps with the IT. Because there's so many different websites, you can't block them all, if that makes sense. So part of this, the reporting process, will be me getting in contact with VC3 saying, what can you do, what can you screen? As of right now, it's just if something is brought to me, and we know it happens, I have to then in turn, and this goes a little bit deeper, saying that it's not just our devices; they can't even use our internet or services
Right.
on their personal devices as
But
well.
to,
So,
to your knowledge, have we had any violations?
to my knowledge, no.
I would think VC3 could monitor that, maybe for a fee, but I would think they could.
Well, I'm sure they can. I think the question is going to be, is it going to be more of a firewall getting put in place that blocks keywords? Because when it comes to websites, you can't, unless I put it on a blocked website list, you find a new website, it's accessible. So I'm assuming they'd have some sort of firewall that if it had any type of content, keywords or something. I can't speak to that entirety,
I
but
would think the sheriff's office has something very similar because we had an incident many years back where one of our employees got released because they went back and pulled his
browser
laptop
history.
and pulled his history up and saw where he'd been.
Now, I'm sure VC3 could pull browser history.
Yeah.
And we have to be in compliance by January of '25.
Yeah, so we have to have in compliance from a standpoint of having it in our policy ready to go
Okay.
December.
Okay.
Reporting's not going to be, from what I understand, till around August of next year. So I should get more clarification on what the reporting is going to look like.
I think it's a good policy
Well, I
to
think
have.
you're on the right track, so that's good. Do I hear a motion to approve the recommended revision of the town's electronic devices and resources acceptable use policy?
So made.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is COI with the 2025 Farmers Market Kickoff Concert.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Evening, Court.
Good evening.
So we are in the process of planning our concerts for the 2025 season. And for the opening day of the Farmers Market, which we are scheduling for April 11th, we would like to offer a free concert featuring the band Scythian. And a little bit from their bio, Scythian is a high-energy, family-friendly band that created its own unique genre of folk rock, combining elements of Celtic, bluegrass, and Americana music. For over 12 years, they have found success as an independent band and have played over 1,300 shows all over the United States, Europe, Canada, and Australia. And with Scythian being a global touring band with a larger reach, this concert is more of a production than what we are accustomed to booking. And also the price point is higher than what we are accustomed to booking as well. So the contract amount for Scythian is $12,000 plus hospitality. And I gave a breakdown of what I saw those total expenses being, which I have at $15,500 approximate. So we did apply for funding through the Nash County Tourism Development Authority, and we're notified that they awarded us $10,000 in funding to support music at the farmers market for fiscal year '25. So we plan to use those funds for this concert and take the remaining expenses out of the existing budget. So we're not asking for a budget amendment for this. So we're requesting council approve the contract with Scythian so we can continue planning this event. And what I have for you to review is the contract with Scythian, their hospitality rider, the notice of approved funds from TDA, and that breakdown of estimated expenses. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Corey, how much is your entertainment budget for the year, for the entire year?
We budget $400 a week is what it averages out to. It's about $11,000 is what we budget. Every year we also apply for funding through the NC Arts Council Grassroots Arts Program, and we have been, that's through Nash Arts. We have been awarded that regularly every year to supplement that. That grant closes the end of this month. I see no reason for us to not get funded that as well. But I can't say that for sure until that grant closes.
But with that all together, say we get all the funding we're asking for, you got a budget of what, 24,000?
Yes,
And we're
approximately.
gonna burn 15,500 on it on the very first one?
The 10,000 isn't part of our budget. It is,
No, it's not part of our budget, but the 10,000 plus what we already have was around 23 or 24,000.
Yeah, and normally what we book is local talent, which, you know, comes at a lower price point. They don't have the travel. They may not be as recognizable as some of the
Right.
bigger names. We were just trying to do something a little different here.
This is different.
Are you going to be going over budget?
No, ma'am.
There we go.
It looks to me like we're shooting all our eggs at one time. I mean, we're gonna throw this out, $15,000, 15,500, and then the rest of the year we're gonna have to be
Well, he's still going to do what you're
Pitch-
planning, what
pitching
we've done in the
pennies.
past, right?
Yes, so we are planning on trying to change things for the 2025 season a little bit. Instead of trying to do maybe a solo performer every week, we want to do more of the concerts that are a full band that run, you know, a later time frame. So instead of matching it up with the market time 3 to 7, doing it more like 5:30 to 8:30 to have that afternoon atmosphere. And with those, doing it not every market, but once or twice a month. So doing that, looking at doing bands, you know, you're talking about April, May, and June for 3 months. I do feel like that we will, I know for sure that we will not go over budget with what we have. Now, we are relying on the funds that we get from Nash Arts. Again, they're not committed yet, but I do feel confident that we'll get that grant this year as well.
So I watched a couple of their videos on YouTube, and I mean, they were fun. That's probably a good word. I mean, there wasn't a lot of views on their videos, which is interesting. But they seemed to, the crowd seemed to like what was going on. I don't know if it was staged or not. It didn't seem like it was. But it was different music. So, I mean, that's good. I mean, it wasn't.
different music that will draw who?
Well, that's the question. Is it going to draw people? Because it's definitely different.
I have never questioned anything that you put out, Corey, because I've always depended on what you do. But I think, my opinion, because I've dealt with this in my past life, if I want to use that way, I think we're throwing too much. This is too big for the farmers market. This is just too much for the farmers market. I mean, look at the list of stuff you got to get just for the dressing room. I mean, we've never had to do all this stuff. I mean, I booked Charlie Daniels back in 1990, whatever year it was, and I had something very similar to this. Charlie Daniels
Is it green M&Ms?
was way more popular than this group, but they got some of everything up here. They got stuff up here that we probably can't even find in Nashville. We had to go somewhere else to get it.
So dressing room, what are we
think-
going to use for a dressing room?
I just
We'll
think
use the recreation center. We've done that before with some of our bands that have traveled not that far, but out of the
we're gonna
Raleigh
use the
area.
rec center for the dressing room.
We have, yes, sir.
I mean, for this group.
That would be our plan, yes, sir.
So then we got to figure out some secure shuttle system to get them from the rec center up to the stage.
I don't think they're that recognizable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not Charlie Daniels, but.
No, he ain't Charlie Daniels, but
So, what is a normal band that's above a local person cost? I mean, like if we brought a regional popular band in, what do you know?
So it varies a lot. What we've booked before at the farmers market and at Stony Creek Park, I would say on the high end has been around 3,500. You know, just my experience with like the Blooming Festival and stuff, they get up there, you know, 20, even close to $30,000 for
They
some
do
of the
spend that,
acts
okay.
there.
We
So
do.
it varies a lot. It's hard to say what the average is. It just all depends.
But usually that's somebody getting ready to be big.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, the reason I did pick this band, I have seen them at the amphitheater they built in Littleton. It drew a very large crowd in Littleton. It was very family-friendly atmosphere, so we were just trying to replicate that here in Nashville. And obviously, this wouldn't be something that we're looking to do on a normal basis. Just with those TDA funds, they're looking for events that have that regional draw, put heads in beds. So we were trying to find a group that we thought that there would be people that would travel to this area to see them, stay in Nash County, come to Nashville, just have a little bit of an economic boost with it.
we'll think about this too now. if you book them and you bring them here, you got to move them from the rec center to the stage. The people that are coming in to view them that night will obviously fill up the parking lot. So where all the cars are going to be, they're going to be everywhere. It's going to be a nightmare for the police department. Like I said
I
before,
don't understand the statement. Can you help me on that?
I'll help you a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
The people that will come to see it, they're obviously going to fill up the parking lot where we've got the parking spaces for the cars. So the cars, there'll be no cars in the parking lot. There'll be people. So where are we going to put the cars? They'll be everywhere.
Where we
Well,
put
what
them
did
at
we
the
do?
egg drop.
The egg drop, exactly. What do we
Where
do for the egg
put 'em at
drop?
the egg drop, you know?
We had, how many
So
people
is,
at the
is
egg
he
drop?
right? Are you
Oh,
anticipating using the parking lot for people to sit and or stand to watch this?
No.
You think it's gonna be that big?
Where's it going to be?
I don't foresee that. What I do plan on doing is having them start right as the market's ending, so you can use the shelters as a viewing area too. That kind of expands the viewing area. But other than maybe blocking that one row of parks right by the grassy area, I think we'd leave the rest of it open for public parking. And Ashley and myself, we've been working on a parking map just for some of the larger events we have, the public parking lots in the area. Granted, they're not right next to it, but you know, the library, the rec center, the post office, those areas where people can have additional parking.
So Corey, what I think I hear you saying is that with this band being the kickoff band for your farmer's market season, your impact or your return on the investment is more so the concert for the town, or is it the impact that they will support economically the farmer's market, or just the overall impact for Nash County as it relates to beverage, lodging, things of that nature?
Yes, sir. I think it's all related. You know, we're looking for a show that our residents will enjoy. We're hoping to bring people from the outside area that will support our farmers market vendors and Nashville, Nash County as a whole as it comes to, you know, all these people are going to have somewhere to stay, somewhere to eat, and just hoping that it's, you know, it's all wrapped up in a package that benefits everybody.
Tony has a question. I'd like to hear what his question is.
Yes.
Yeah, you need to come up front, Tony. I'm sorry.
I'm just curious, being the farmer's market is on a Friday afternoon, what time they can perform? They can perform at 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, or they can perform at 7 o'clock to keep people there longer? And what happens if it rains? Do we still owe them the money? I'm just kind of curious. Being on a Friday afternoon, a lot of people can't, and what time is it?
Yeah, so we envision this starting at that later time frame, probably around that 7 o'clock time. In that contract, one, they have a force majeure that the parties shall be excused from their obligations under this agreement in the event of proven sickness, accident, riot, strike, epidemic, act of God, and any other force majeure event or occurrence beyond their respective control. That protects us some in the event that something happens. I also got a price on rain insurance, which I had in that budget, which is something that I'm not too familiar with. My understanding is you put the window, you put the amount that you've invested into the event, and if it rains a certain amount in Nashville during that time, then we can get reimbursed for our expenses for that. That's not something that we've done in the past, but again, this is a different price point than what we've done before.
How big was your crowd at Littleton?
If I had to estimate, I would say you're looking at close to 1,000 people.
Oh, that big.
That's an estimate.
Any other thoughts? Well, you've definitely put the work in planning it and making us aware of everything about this group. And so, council, what are your thoughts?
I almost have to trust Coy, and he's good with the trust, but that's kind of where I'm leaning.
He's never let us down yet, I'll say that.
Mayor, if I may, you know, when the Nashville Junction was envisioned, we were looking for some place where we could host things like this, some place where the community would come, we'd have parking facilities, we would have stage and performing facilities, and a nice venue where it could all take place. We have that now, and it would be really nice to have an opportunity to see if we could fulfill that vision that we had with the Nashville Junction. And
And I think it also, I was thinking it'll let people know what we can have in Nashville that's worth their time coming to our town to see.
And if we wanted to market it that way, you know, the stage was finished during this market season, but we really haven't had like a grand opening for the stage itself.
think we
So if
would
we
have
want to
to-
market it that way,
I think we would
we
have to
certainly can.
advertise it well, you know, make sure we got
Make it
the
the
word
brand.
out.
Will the junction be open at that time?
That is not a question I can answer.
Who knows?
We've been working hard these last 2 weeks. Okay. There's been lots of cars up there working.
Yeah, I noticed that.
If it wasn't, would you have like beer trucks and stuff like that?
Yes, sir. Yeah, well, I assume Koi Pond would also be one of our farmers market vendors that we would have stay. In the past, we've also, for an event this size, we'd probably invite, you know, like the Vino Market to come set up as well and do that.
And I guess food trucks too?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yes, ma'am.
So, do I hear a motion to approve the booking that, how do you pronounce that band?
Scythian.
Scythian,
Scythian.
for a music concert in Nashville Junction Stage on April the 11th, 2025.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Better be great, Coy.
It's gonna be good.
I'm not.
Okay, Bill.
Yep. So Mayor, I make a motion that we go into closed session pursuant to 143-318.11A, 4 and 5.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion. Okay. We've got to, at some point, get out of the mediocrity level and strive.